talk after. Go on. Go ahead, Emma.
No, I'm just saying, you know, there's a friend of mine. She's a tantric practitioner. She's a sexual healer. You know, she does body work and stuff with people, and she gets really like, up until recently, she hasn't put online like what she does, because she's just like, oh, you know, what am I going to think? What are people going to think, and what's it going to attract in? You know, because invariably you do get a lot of unhealed people coming. We're healers, you know, we attract the unhealed. This is what we're here for, you know. So
yeah, it's tough, and having to deal with that. And it's a shame that's a thought in her mind that she's like, you know what, when I promote my stuff, I'm gonna get all this shit that comes with it. So yeah, that's horrible that that's there anyway, because it should be just, yeah, let me just go and promote my business, and that thought shouldn't be there. So yeah, you're right.
But on the other hand, it's even more kind of amplifying the message that we absolutely need to be doing this work. And you know, as us as kind of light workers in this field, if you like, for one of a less wanky term, it's do you know what I mean? Like it just amplifies the fact that we need to be doing this work. You know, there's an absolute call for it, because whilst people have got these kind of, I would say, in my view, an unhealthy kind of relationship with sex and sexuality, the body and stuff, then you know there's a lot of healing to be done, isn't there? So
yeah, 100%. So I have Hannah, first time on the King's Forum show. Hi Hannah, welcome.
Hello. Thanks.
Hannah is a healer, and we're just going to talk about her journey to get into this point, amongst other things, and medium. She does quite a few things, but primarily a healer. So yeah, just kind of what led you to this path. Could you talk a bit about kind of maybe some of your life experience, and you know, to get to this point?
Yeah, I think I knew I was a bit different from quite a young age. I knew from, I think it was my earliest recollection, like solid recollection of thinking this is not normal, was about sort of like 8 or 9 years old. And I come from quite a high trauma background. Like my childhood had quite a lot of trauma in it and stuff. And you know, that itself lends it to, you know, heightened awareness and you know, looking at different ways of coping, actually different coping strategies. But I remember about the age of 8 or 9, I was really, really aware of that I could see and feel things that other people couldn't.
Interesting.
And that I was really very, very energetically and emotionally sensitive, which, you know, back then, so this is going back sort of like 30 odd years ago, and back then that's not acceptable. You know, it's only like today that, you know, sensitivity and emotional awareness, right, is not so much weakness. You know, then it was very much weakness. So yeah, so that's when it kind of sort of started. I realized that I could see a lot of stuff energetically that other people, and feel stuff that other people couldn't feel.
So did you keep that to yourself a lot? You didn't really mention it, or did you speak to
No, I kept that to myself. I was weird enough as it was, you know. I got quite badly bullied and stuff as a child. I was quite, very badly. All through all ages of school and stuff. And then I had a certain degree of bullying that was going on at home as well. And so I was quite introverted. I was always with my books, my music, quite arty, and very, very academic, quite naturally academic. I did work hard, but I didn't have to try too hard at it. You know, it came quite naturally to me, so I was quite bookish. But I spent a lot of time on my own, you know, with my own thoughts and stuff, working through stuff, and I could see things and feel things that I knew other people couldn't. So I just kept it quiet. I kept, at that point, like now you can't shut me up, but like at that point in my life, I had to keep quiet. You didn't voice yourself, you know. I was very, very introverted, very, very subdued. I didn't use my voice much, you know. Certainly not I just toed the line, people please, and kept the peace as much as I could, you know,
to fit in as much as you could, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to be as small as possible. I didn't want to stand out in any shape or form. So the irony of what I do now is completely different.
So I think it's you coming into your own, isn't it? And
Oh
you,
yeah, do you know what? I had this conversation with my mum yesterday because I had to go to Glastonbury yesterday, as you do, to pick up a gong stand for my gong, and you know, as you do, and she's never been, and I said to her, I said, oh, you know, why don't you just come with me for the day? We'll make a day of it. And my mum and my aunt, who lives with her, came there, and it was really interesting because they got to see another side of me, and they got to, by spending the whole day together, we got really talking about the stuff that I do, like with my work and stuff, you know, my kind of personal kind of practices around stuff like tantra and sacred sexuality principles, how I use that and weave that into mentoring clients, how I use it, you know, in my healing as a Reiki master and as a medium, and how all this kind of fits in together and works together. And mum, because mum's always said to me, she goes, oh, you're my little weirdo. Okay, she's always called me that in an affectionate sense. And then she was like, you really are fucking nuts, aren't you? I went, yeah, pretty much. And this was this was an affectionate sense. This wasn't in a, like, actually, because mum's been through a lot, you know, a lot herself with me. And she turned around and she goes, but like all this stuff that you do that's it's quite out there. She said, well, it felt quite out there to her, and she's quite liberal. She was like, but you're really happy. This is absolutely who you are. This is who you've been trying to be your whole life, isn't it? I was like, bang on. Absolutely. Like,
it's quite powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super powerful.
When your mom's just like, right, she's finally found herself, her purpose, and her why. And yeah, that's a moment, especially when parents kind of like realize that, because, you know, as you said, you had some troubled times together, and, you know, through your childhood and stuff. So that point when, you know what, she's actually happy now.
Well, it's big for mum, because all through my teens now, as a result of the stuff in my like early childhood, I suffered very, very badly with severe generalized anxiety disorder and PTSD. And I was on a lot of medication. I was a very unwell little girl. I was regularly self-harming pretty extensively. There were suicide attempts. There was, you name it, I did it, you know, and I was putting myself in very dangerous situations towards the latter end of my teens. And at 17, my mum, bless her, like, she fought the whole time to look after me and to try and give me what I needed. And obviously back then, you know, mental health wasn't so well supported, and she really had to fight the system to get me to look after. And obviously as well, you know, the first thing is they put you on meds. You know, they don't put meds with that kind of situation. And I remember when I was 17, this is another reason why it's taken me so long to kind of really kind of embrace who I am, because at 17, I was almost sectioned the stuff I could see. I made the mistake of telling my psychiatric team the things that I could see, you know, in terms of like spirits and energy and shit like that, which I didn't have the right words for. And they wanted to section me because of that. In fact, I was self-harming. And mum really, really fought to look after me at home, you know, and she did. She was successful in that. So I wasn't sectioned. I didn't have that on my record, as it were. But for me at that point, my spirituality and my essence of who I am, you know, wasn't safe. So I was like, squash that shit down. I'm not doing that anymore, you know, because that's fucking dangerous to me. That's what it feels like, you know. So for her to be sat in that psychiatrist room with bars on the freaking walls and stuff, on the windows and stuff, her fighting to keep her daughter out of a psychiatric hospital, and the nights that she spent, you know, with me very, very unwell, you know, in a bit of a mess, to be sat, you know, in Glastonbury Abbey, it's like, you've really got your shit together. You're really happy, aren't you? And like, don't get me wrong, my life's not perfect. You know, I've got stuff I'm working through. I'm always on a, we're always healing. You know, we're always on a journey. But for her it must have been quite nice, you know, as a mother as well. I thought, shit, that's quite a big thing for mum actually, to be able to sit there and see it's all worked out, you know.
You're fine. You said it's had the Disney happy ending, yeah? That's it.
Well, yeah, not quite.
So talk about, because you've been through a lot, so talk about how things changed for you when you started, you know, turning things around, and yeah, you went for a lot with mental health, and you said you was on medications and all this type of thing. So to talk about kind of when things started to change for you.
The things properly changed for me. I don't know. You know what? I can't remember clear timescales of it.
No, it's fine.
It was about, I think it's nearly 8 years ago now.
Wow.
8 years in March. I lost a baby and I got diagnosed with brain tumour. And I had my son that I've got now. I've still got my beautiful 10-year-old now. But I had him, and I'd been made redundant at work, and I thought all I'd ever wanted is to be a mum. I'd always been super academic. I've really always been quite career focused as well. And any job that I did, I kind of really pushed myself to the max with it, you know, and I'd done lots of different jobs and things, you know, some of them were quite high powered corporate jobs and stuff, very conventional. And you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and that's absolutely, I believe that the stuff I've done has really led me to where I am now as well, you know, to have the confidence to do some of the stuff I do now as well. But I just wanted to be a mum, you know, and I'd met my then husband previously, and we'd got this beautiful, you know, 2-3-year-old. And then we were trying for more babies because we decided that I was going to stay at home, he was going to work, and we were just going to focus on the family side of it because we'd got a new job that was travelling lots and that. So it made sense for me to be at home after this redundancy. And we lost the baby. It was an early miscarriage, but now I can look back and so it's quite traumatic. And I was so focused, as I was with everything of my life. I've got to push forward, and on to the next thing, the next thing, got to push forward. Because I had a lot to prove. I needed to prove to everyone I wasn't fucking nuts, you know, and that I was very capable. So I went all in on everything I did after, you know, my teens, because I felt like I had something to prove, that I was worthy. I wasn't this kind of really messed up little girl, you know. And we were, you know, I felt like I was pregnant again, and then after the miscarriage, and it wasn't showing up on pregnancy tests. Went to the doctors, and the type of tumour I had emulated the signs of pregnancy really cruelly. And so I had this tumour. So for the first 18 months of that, I really focused on all I wanted to know was if I could have any more babies. That's all I was interested in. The first 6 months, I didn't know whether it was cancerous or not. It wasn't as benign, but there was lots of other, you know, complications that go along with that. You know, it's not as straightforward as just being benign. And the first 6 months, I didn't know if I was going to be alive to, you know, I didn't know anything about this tumour, you know, so I've got this 2-year-old, and am I going to see him, you know, which is like, even now, when we talk about this now, it makes me kind of choke a little bit, you know. So that was really tough, and I think it was about 18 months after being diagnosed with that. I've been taking this god-awful medication every week, which made me feel like I had like full-blown flu for a couple of days each week, and it was affecting like my grip strength, and you know, I was getting all sorts of random pains and nervy pain in my body and stuff, all this crap. You know, I lost some of my hair, like not massively, but enough to affect my confidence.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And in this time, rather than thinking, you know what, let's make yourself really fucking healthy, Hannah, and in every other way, I ate loads because I was an emotional eater, drank loads, and I was just caught in this, I just need to be fixed with this medicine so I can have more babies, which is where I was at. And, you know, after 18 months, I got, they did a scan and stuff and said, well, Hannah, the medication you're taking and stuff is great. The tumour hasn't got any bigger, but it hasn't got any smaller, and we don't think your reproductive system is healed. I was like, boom, proper sucker punch. I was like, I got no purpose. I got nothing. Like everything I ever wanted. You know, like I craved that love, that family vibe, that unconditional stuff, from my childhood and stuff, which I didn't have so much. Don't get me wrong, there was love there, but it wasn't necessarily unconditional. And I didn't know what to do with myself. Like now, even now, like talking about that and looking back, I'm like, whoo, you know, that's big stuff. And anyway, I went and got absolutely trashed one night, and And you know, the next morning I went out with some people I didn't feel comfortable with. A bunch of women that were really nice to me, but a lot smaller than I was. I think I was about size 22, 24. You know, I was big. I'm not small anyway, but I was a lot bigger than I am now. I was like 6 stone heavier. And I just felt really crap the whole evening with them. Next morning I woke up and I was like, this god awful hangover. And I was like, I can't live like this anymore. And it's just like a light switch went off. And I just knew I had to, one, work on my mindset, and two, tap into me again. And so I made a couple of changes in my life, quite radical changes, and just focused on them. And they're the two things I started off with. But I was only going to put positive shit on like social media, because I was like the biggest binge bag ever. So like negative Nelly. Like now I see, like, you know, like you get the time hop. I'm like, oh god, it's cringe, it's awful. You know, and I was only going to put nutritious stuff in my gob, because you know, that was where I was going to start. And that's where I started, you know. And you know, a very long story short, you know, I started to really trust my intuition on things. And you know, I lost a lot of weight. I started weightlifting. I started thinking, you know, I can't treat the tumor, but I can, like, how do you eat an elephant? You break it down and bite by bite, don't you? And that's how I did with this. I started treating symptoms of this tumor, and my mindset was that if I'm smaller, I don't have to take so much medicine, so I don't feel so shit. And you know, I did a load of obstacle course races, which no one thought I could do, but I did it. And I did loads of weightlifting and raised money for the brain tumor charity, all this stuff, you know, which was great for the brain tumor charity and for other people. But it was part of my healing and part of my learning to connect with my body, learning to connect with myself, learning to connect with my intuition. And in this process, I started to listen again to what's going on in here. And I started to, controversially, I stopped taking medication for the tumor. I didn't tell anyone about it. I came off my mental health meds after 22 years. I did all this quietly without telling anyone. I just trusted my intuition. Did it sensibly, don't get me wrong. I didn't just like whip this stuff away. I weaned myself off everything. And lo and behold, my reward was kind of like 3.5, 4 years ago, when they turned around to me and said, well, the tumor's gone. There's no inflammation. There's no nothing.
Wow.
You weren't taking enough medication for it to disappear like that. And I'm like, well, I haven't been taking any medication for like 6 to 8 months, you know. So which they said was lifestyle and stuff. And so that was the affirmation I needed, is like, you are on your path. I know you've got to keep going. Stop listening to everyone else telling you you're not good enough, you're not strong enough. You know, and that was coming from a place of love, but it's quite debilitating, you know.
100%.
So it started there, and that's when I needed to pay for all these obstacle course races and PT sessions and, you know, gym kit and stuff. And so I started like a business with a network marketing company, the Spa company. And you know, through that, I was like, I did really well, because anything I apply myself, I tend to do quite well at. And I was like, okay, well, actually, I need to be hands-on with people. So I went and did like a massage course and stuff, and realised that, you know, I did a lot of massage courses, and realised that my touch was really healing. Like, I could pick up on stuff that, like, people that were a lot more experienced than me and had a lot more qualification than I wouldn't pick up on. So I started getting like athletes, I suppose you call them, really coming to me to fix them, because I could get it done quicker than somebody like a physio or something. You know, because I didn't realize it at the time, but I was healing in that, you know. And that part of things started sort of 6 years ago, and I learned that quite quickly. That's when I started doing my Reiki qualifications. I did those quite quickly. I tapped back into my crystals. I started reading cards again, and all that stuff kind of just kept going, you know, and it kind of evolved from there.
Yeah, cool. That's some story.
I know. So I'm trying to like condense that down.
You've gone for a lot, and what I would say, do you look back and say, kind of, I know sometimes in life we go through things and you're just like, why me? do you ever look back and say, this is why, and it's kind of, I learned this from this situation? So some of the learnings from happened to you,
I've known all my life, and I can't explain how I've always known. I knew most, there were some big events around the age of 12, and I knew at that point there's some pretty dire circumstances and quite scary circumstances. I knew that eventually one day my shit would help someone else. That's what I knew then, and I lost sight of that every so often, but I'd always come back to it. It's like, I'm going to use it somehow. I didn't know how. And so now I'm at a place, I feel so, this is going to sound quite fucked up a little bit, I feel so grateful for those experiences. I've done a lot of work to be where I am now. Do you know what I mean? A lot of my own healing. I'm very, very invested in my own healing journey. I think as a healer, you have a responsibility to invest in your own healing journey in order to better take people through theirs. But now I think, I'm just so grateful, because I can see really, really clearly, every single thing I've been through has aligned me perfectly with where I am now. This is why I can do the stuff that I do. This is why the type of clients I support and I work with, whether it's from a sexual perspective, from a conventional healing perspective, from readings, whatever, from mentoring, I know that every experience, that tough experience that I've been through, and the good experiences, too, have absolutely been so that I can do this, for sure.
Yeah. So what do you get from what you do? Are you, is it healing you as well?
I think when you do energy healing, when you do Reiki, you heal as you're healing. You get to receive as you're giving on that one. I think a lot of healers will turn around and say a lot of their clients often mirror stuff in them. So quite often, I'll hold space for something, have a session with something, and afterwards I'll be like, oh fuck, I need to do some more work on that myself, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because that's coming up for me at the moment. Who knew? I love what I do. I'm really passionate about what I do. I think I'm quite evangelical about it, I think, sometimes, and but I think that comes when you're really passionate about something. It's very much my vocation. It's really intrinsic to who I am as a person. I'm not sat here going, that's my work and that's me. They're all kind of quite messy and integrated, because it's me that channels this stuff. And as you can see on my paraphernalia and stuff behind me, like I'm in my healing room now. This is my home healing room. I don't tend to treat clients in here anymore, but it's, this is my life. This is my personal practice as much as it is my work. Does that make sense?
No, definitely. So it's a part of the same thing, rather than, as you said, something separate. That's how passionate you are. You live and breathe it. It's a lifestyle as well as what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. How about a mission statement for your business? We're here to promote you as well and what you do.
Oh, thanks.
Clients, ain't just about me and me interviewing you. It's about.
Well, it would be about you interviewing. You get a word in, wouldn't it? It's like me jabber. Sorry, love.
No, it's good.
Mission statement.
Or just what you're about. It doesn't have to be anything.
I just, all the things that I get to do, like my site in terms of my sort of psychic mediumship and that sort of things, my mentoring programs that I have with clients, all of it, I'm here in a healing capacity. I know that I'm here to heal people, and I demand quite a lot from my clients, actually, because I think healing is very much a two-way street, and so I want them to be really empowered in their healing journey, and that's what I feel like I'm here to do, and my purpose, if you like, is to help people to live a really fulfilled life, that's really true and aligned to their essence and the core of them, and to help them navigate through any kind of blockages or trauma or triggers or ancestral patterns that are holding them back from you know, achieving that.
Yeah, that's great. What social platforms are you on?
Best one for me is Instagram. Off camera, we had a little chat with me about how I'm not techie and I need to up my game on that front. But the best one for me, the best one is absolutely Instagram.
Cool, which we've got there, as you can see.
Yeah.
At Hannah Holistics. Cool. Yeah. Hannah, thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And it's a gift that you can chat for England. So.
I know I did good. I took a breath, all right?
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. People, please like, share, and subscribe. Go and follow Hannah. And I'll see you soon. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you very much.